Sit back, relax, try to maintain your composure. You are about to become connected.
Okay, so welcome to the Connect podcast. The Connect podcast has had a bit of a break, as some of you avid listeners and, well, now viewers may know. We have done around about 50 podcasts in the past. I will be your host for the new Connect video version of the Connect podcast, which is fucking such exciting times. I can't believe we've come so far, and I've been so lazy for so long, and I've pretty much just forgotten that podcasts are so fun and exciting, and it's so good to spread information and get people to hear and discuss what is important in the world, rather than listening to some crap on the fucking TV in your living room. So I would like to introduce my guest, Shane. I've had Shane on podcast before. Shane, what's going on, mate?
Oh, not much.
You loving life?
Yeah, loving life.
Kicking
back
bells
from Bali and
just got back from Bali. What are you doing in Bali?
I just had a holiday, just relaxing. Sat on the beach a lot, drank some bintangs.
Just get smashed on the big tanks. Do you have some buckets there?
No, there's no buckets in Bali really.
Oh really? Is that a Thailand thing?
Yeah, it's Thailand I think. But just checked out their culture, a few temples and.
Oh really? Yeah.
Good to see. But
so what you did? Did you stay out of the tourist destinations, or did you?
Oh, we did. We stayed in Kuta, which is the main area, for a week, and then we went out to Ubud, which is sort of I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Eat, Pray, Love.
Yeah.
Heard of that movie? Yeah, she goes to this place Ubud. It's a pretty famous place for that sort of area. Like a lot of people go there for peace and practice meditation, yoga. It's massive for that.
Is it nice? Is it beautiful and shit?
Yeah, it's just all rice terraces around everywhere, and it's real calm and peaceful. And like going down the main street, it's like all these places selling like crystals and like the chakra bowls and stuff.
Yeah.
The chakra bowls and and all that kind of stuff. Like all this Tibetan art, and it's just like really, really calm, and everyone's just so friendly. And the nightlife's pretty cool there too. Like, but
of course it is.
Good to check out. Yeah. So meditated a fair bit there, and I meditated every day when I was in Bali, and it was like
and it was
awesome.
Good. Yeah, so you'll meditate. Like, okay, so just to give you a bit of a rundown on Shane. The reason why I've had Shane on the podcast a few times, and I've asked him to come on and to basically, help me introduce the new video version of the Connect podcast, which will also be available in MP3 audio. Is basically, I started working with Shane a while ago, probably a couple of years ago, and we worked together for quite a while, and then I realised, well, Shane's got quite a unique story. So how did you come to be in this life? Where did you come from? You came from the vagina, didn't you?
Oh yeah.
I knew it. See, hey?
Most people did.
We go way back. No, there was one person in history that didn't come from a vagina.
Was it?
Jesus.
Oh yeah.
No, he didn't. No, it's written in the book, so it's correct, right?
No, he did, didn't he?
I don't think he did. No.
Virgin Mary Day. Yeah,
no, he did.
He did.
Was she? So he didn't have sex? No, but he did come out of the vagina?
Yeah.
I wasn't sure.
She was still pregnant, but she was just a virgin.
Oh, was it? Was she pregnant?
Yeah. She was still pregnant.
See, I was raised Catholic. Were you raised Catholic?
Yeah, I went to a Catholic school.
Yeah, so did I. What? How come I didn't? I've always actually thought Jesus just like fucking poof, like just.
Nah, because they said the day.
Oh, no, the baby, and the three wise men came.
Pregnant.
Fuck, see, that's me not fucking remembering my roots. I should have remembered where Jesus came from.
Oh yeah.
Vagina.
Pretty important.
So not even Jesus, not even the Son of God could have gotten away with that. So how important are females? Females are so important. They produce human beings.
So do males.
Yeah. Fuck whatever, who cares about the males? We're assholes. Anyway, so you came from vagina, and then what happened after that?
I don't know, I grew up on a farm in the country, so it's pretty...
What sort of farm?
A dairy farm. So
dairy farm, yeah.
It's a fairly conservative sort of place, you're not really open to everything down there, but but still it was good to see that sort of side of the world, I guess. And I always wanted to live in the city. It was just, I don't know, it's the way I was.
When you were born in your dairy farm, were you grew up with motorbikes and all that sort of
yeah,
stuff?
Yeah, motorbikes, around animals every day, like dogs and cows and...
What relationship did you get? Do you have... I'm going to say this now because I'm a vegetarian, newly formed thanks to my wonderful, gorgeous girlfriend. Shut up. Yeah, so what relationship do you think you've brought out? You've grown up with animals and animals used for making money in a certain way.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So what sort of relationship? Because I had a pet bunny and I had a dog and I had all that.
Yeah.
Have you had pet animals? Because
well, when I grew up, we had probably like 7 or probably nearly 10 dogs all the time I was living in the country.
Yeah.
It's like,
because
you need.
But they're not really pet. Were they
still
pets?
pets? Yeah, they're still pets. Not as because they're like just obeying orders,
They're obeying orders. Yeah.
So they're not really as like
Do you pat them?
Pets. Yeah, you still pat them and hang out with them. They've got heaps of energy and stuff, so you run around and that. But we still had pets. Like,
yeah, sure.
So like border collies and stuff. And
yeah. So, but you don't have like you still have a fairly decent relationship with animals, even though you were brought up in a place where the animals were confined and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, of course. They're not treated badly though. They're not like, no. This is
explain to me.
They're taken care of. As in, like, it depends what you define as badly. These vegans will come out and they'll say, because a cow will only produce milk when they're pregnant. So for a cow to produce milk 24/7, they need to be injected with the hormone to make them think that their brain thinks that they're pregnant constantly.
Sure.
So people think that that's cruel, but what's the cow know what's going on?
Yeah. I suppose so. And you and my girlfriend need to have a chat. Won't go down. But do the cows get to walk around in that?
Yeah. They're open paddocks, so they got to eat. So the grass.
Yeah,
so in summer when it gets really hot, my dad would have to buy water. Yeah. You have to buy water to irrigate the grass, so the cows have something to eat.
Sure.
Otherwise, you have to buy hay, and it's pretty expensive. That's why a lot of farmers struggle. So in terms of money, farmers make the least amount of money.
They don't make much money, but they do work 7 days a week.
The people who make the most money is the company who sell it in the shops.
The Coles and Woolworths and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And all your massive supermarkets. And they make the money. And that's actually.
So you think my dad might get like 30 cents a litre for milk, and then
we charge $1.30.
Even when it goes through the process, they usually water it down a bit and clean it, put chemicals through, so they will nearly get 2 litres out of that 30 cents that he's got for the 1 litre, and then they'll go sell it for $1, $2.
$1.20.
Oh no, $2. Some sell it for like $3 or $4.
A litre,
when you think about it, they're making all that extra
That's massive money.
And even with like skim milk and light milk, it's like been watered down so much anyway, so to get that fat out, they water it down. And then
is that why skim milk and light milk's just bullshit?
I'm not 100% sure how it's made, but I know that
it's not the best.
The fats out of milk is what's good for you. So why would you have milk that doesn't have the fats in it?
I've always thought now that I've recently actually gone off milk, and I actually recently did it for some sort of skin condition, thinking that the skin condition was a cause of lactose or something like that. But I actually went off milk and I started having soy, and to be honest, it hasn't really changed my life significantly in too much of a way. It's just I just don't have milk anymore, and it hasn't been that big a deal. Because soy is pretty much, if you get the right soy, it tastes sort of exactly the same.
Sometimes.
Sometimes if you get bad soy, or if you burn the soy in coffee or something, it tastes fucking awful. But
sometimes they say that soy milk, if you look on the side,
it's got estrogen.
It's full of sugar too. Though.
It's got full of sugar. Yeah.
Look at the amount of sugar that's in it. It might have like 40 grams or something.
But
it's not much compared to like a Coke, but when you're drinking normal milk, there's no sugar in it.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true. But then after I've sort of taken that sort of transition, I've always now I step back and I can see the picture from afar, and I'm like, isn't culture just an amazing thing? How let's say for interest's sake, a woman came up to you and they said, "Here, taste some of my cheese. It's made from my breast milk."
Yeah.
And then you'd be like, fuck that. There's no way I'm going to eat that
it's
cheese.
the same thing if you went to
I'm not going to eat that cheese from a breast milk. But then someone walks up with a pizza and goes, here, have some of my pizza. It's made from the milk of another animal. And then you're like, hold on, well, the only reason I'm alive is because of the breast milk of another female, so of my mother. So why shouldn't I eat the cheese from the breast milk of a female, and I should eat the fucking cheese from the breast milk of a cow? Like, that's just the culture, the defining what you...
I think it's more, everyone's so disconnected these days.
So
like if you even got someone who drinks milk in their coffee every day, like they might have 10 coffees a day, some people. If you got that person who works in an office in the city, took them down to the country and got fresh milk from a cow, squeezed it in a glass and said, here, have some milk, and they'd be like, oh, I just seen that. People are so disconnected with where stuff comes from, like they're so used to it. Like that's when you think about, when you do have a diet change, you're more conscious of what you're eating. So you're more conscious of where it's coming from. So eating organic is such a big thing, like it's so many more people are eating organic now, because people are getting conscious of where their food's actually coming from now. Well, that's why a lot more people, like there's a lot of people going vegetarian in the last 10, 20 years. There's a massive percentage of people going vegetarian. But like so many people are disconnected from that. When I grew up, we had cows and lambs out there which we would get killed and we would eat ourselves. So we had that sort of connection with it
as well.
We have a connection with it. We got to be seen die. We seen it get cut up. I cut it up. And then we eat it. Like we know the whole process. We know where it was. We know what it ate. Where people they go get a piece of meat from Coles, they have no idea where it's come from. Or they can tell you, Coles might say it's come from here, it's come from Victoria or Queensland, but you have no idea. It's been tortured.
What's it's fed? Exactly. How many antibiotics it's had? If it's been locked up its whole life? If it's been there are actually a lot of variabilities when it comes to consuming meat, and since I've stopped doing it. Oh look, the health benefits. I feel healthier. I feel lighter. If you want to lose weight, if you want to get leaner, then I would suggest to either go gluten free or to stop eating meat. You know what I mean? But not eating meat is not for everyone. It's I find it a positive thing in my life, but there has been significant change because my metabolism is extremely fast. I need to make sure I'm continually having a lot of plant protein, like a fair few people need to. But
meat does slow down.
Slow it down, And now I'm just sort of
fuller for longer.
Eating quite a lot, just to try and maintain that. When meat would sort of just sit there and slowly release, But now when I eat plant protein, it's just like, whoa, okay, next meal. Yeah. So it keeps you regular.
I know, I went gluten free I think around January or February this year.
What experiences did you have with that?
Yeah, well I went fully gluten free at the start, so for the first month or so, and then I sort of just went down to just cutting out bread. So I sort of still eat things with gluten, but I'm not fully strict with it.
Sure.
Mostly bread. So I noticed a lot of things I've just felt like I had more energy in the morning. Mostly a lot of it in the mornings. I'd wake up in the morning, not even I wake up in the morning and just I'd wake up and just feel like I had a bit more energy, my body wasn't spending the whole night processing all this wheat, or I don't even know what it was, but I can't say, I don't know what the science to how it works, but people try and debunk it, going gluten free, but I'm not sure. I think
bread in general like that.
I think mainly it's just that the bread and that wheat and your body processing it. It just doesn't feel, I don't know, now if I have bread it doesn't feel like I can feel it weighing me down in my body. It's the same if you eat a ton of meat, or if you eat something that's heavy and something that takes a lot. If you eat a heap of potato, it's the same thing.
That's right.
But you don't realise how much wheat is in just 4 slices of bread and how much it takes your body to process
absolutely.
that.
I only really see bread as grains, to be honest. I see it as carbs. I need carbs. But I only really. I'd only buy bread that's probably chock full of grains. I've had some grains in there, which are hard for your body to break down anyway. But bread in general, white bread, I don't think anyone should be eating that. That's not the best.
And now for and they sell it for $1.
It's sold for $1. That's what I mean.
Which is so much food. And it's
this Pizza Hut that just opened. I fell for it. This Pizza Hut that opened up just down the road. They just do $5 pizzas
I've seen that
all day, every day.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no wonder people are fat. Like, no wonder there's fatties out there. They just get like a full like cheese pizza for large for $5. Like, well, you can't beat that. That's awesome.
Yeah,
I went and got a veggie pizza and it was shit, and I'll never get another one. But I fell for it. I walked in, I was like, I'll get a veggie pizza, and I got one, and I'm just like, it's gross. No, it's not the best.
Yeah, I'll still go out and eat pizza sometimes and
Yeah.
stuff. Like, you can still eat shitty food. You don't have to eat the best food constantly. Like,
No, you don't. I think it's good to.
But in general, being conscious of what you're eating. Like, I try and eat kale and vegetables every day, and like.
Yeah. Do you have kale every day?
Pretty much every day. Yeah.
Do you blend it, or do you smoothie it, or do you?
No, mostly I'll either steam it or I'll fry it or.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
What do you have it
Eat
with?
it raw sometimes, just like.
What do you have it with?
So I don't know, cook it with anything. I'll cook it with like mashed potato or with steak or chicken.
Right.
And everything.
That's good. I've been having green smoothies like
We've
every
done
couple of days now.
With tuna, like some tuna or some.
It makes your shit green. Green smoothies. Have you
green
had them?
smoothies do, yeah.
They're fucking crazy. Like you wipe your ass and there's like green on the toilet paper and you're like, am I going to turn to the Hulk soon? Or
yeah, that stuff changes your shit.
Yeah, it does.
If you don't
It's got to be good for you.
You don't eat them.
It's got to be good. Yeah, for some reason, everything green is good for you. Like this is like.
To a point, but if you're having that every day,
yeah, I know.
After a while, it's not good for you.
Nah, it's not. I don't have it every day. I love it after the gym. You get like kale and
you
like.
still need some essential fats, like
yeah. Oh yeah. I don't. You know, I manage part of a football stadium. I get my essential fats. Get my fats.
Yeah. In diet.
Yeah. So all right, cool. So you raised on a dairy farm, and then you had to get in the city, mate. And then what happened when you got in the city? What did you find?
Oh, well, I didn't. First I moved out when I was 15, and I started.
Yeah, you moved out when you were 15, but did you finish school?
No, I left like halfway through year 10, so I finished just
halfway through year 10, yeah.
Yeah, so I finished year 9 and left halfway through year 10.
Yeah.
And I started an apprenticeship butchering, and then halfway through that, I had to move out to do that when I was 15, and then I moved to Melbourne when I was 18.
So I should have really jumped in before that, like instead let you finish the line of questioning that you were finishing and say, how is your relationship now with animals after you've chopped so many up in your lifetime?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Like,
I don't know about, like with butchering, like I didn't actually kill the animals, so
yeah, that's right.
It comes in already dead in the piece.
Yeah.
Like all the worst stuff's done.
Yeah.
So you're just cutting it into smaller portions anyway. It'll come up in a big chunk and you're just cutting it smaller.
Yeah, that's right.
Doing that over the sailing part. But I don't know, like that with like the connection of that and cutting it, I don't know, mentally the relationship, I don't really think about that.
Sure.
I never really thought about it. I don't know, it's hard. Like people, I always notice people, I'd meet people and they say, oh, what do you do for work? And I'd be like, I'm a butcher. And they go, oh, what the fuck, you kill animals? And like, that reaction, I'm like, no, I don't, but you know, like I can understand like why people
where it comes from. I mean, the only reason why I bring that up in the context of what we're doing here with this podcast is the fact that you know, you are such a socially conscious young person, and you're what, 21?
22. 23 this month.
It's 23 this month, and I mean, I've had many. This is not the first discussion I've had with Shane. I've had many different, you know, in-depth, serious discussions about some very technical issues with Shane, and even coming from someone that's nearly 10 years older than him, I've actually learned a lot from him. So that's one of the reasons why I do have him on the podcast, is for essentially to, you know, show that this younger generation that's come through, that's not necessarily system-based trained, such as through schooling systems and through university, but simply is trained through internet.
Yes.
And the internet and self-education through no industries that are saying this is what you need to learn, this is what you're not. No, just going, well, this is what I think is important, this is what I think is important. And the amount of knowledge that the internet can provide someone for in your situation, and you know, I'm not like signalling you out. Yeah. The only reason why I have got anything to say that's of any merit or value is because of the internet as well. Like, I mean, out of what was it? So my overall position, which is your final score after your senior year at school, saying how smart you are, 24 being the dumbest,
Yeah.
and
It's like
one being the smartest, and I got 23.
Jeez, yeah.
I literally would have only had to go in and write my name on the test paper to get the mark, like to get what I got. But I actually passed everything. It was just a completely flawed Queensland system, state in Australia for all your international listeners. But it's a completely flawed educational system in the fact that if you go to if you're in a class with a lot of sports orientated people, jocks, whatever, then you're going to get their grades are going to bring you down. If you pay a lot of money and you go to a rich school, all their grades will bring you up.
Yeah.
So I had a cousin that went to a rich school, I went to a private boys' school as well, so it wasn't really perfect. He got, all of his classmates got straight A's, he got straight C's as well, same as me, and he got an OP 13, which is literally mid-range, which is what you should, but because I was in a dumb grade and a dumb school, I got an OP 23, which is pretty much the dumbest you can be, but I think I've said that right.
I know, I hated school, like all through school I didn't really pay any attention. I like the art subjects, like I liked graphics and art and stuff, like the creative stuff.
Yeah.
Because you got more freely to do whatever you want. I know I was good at maths and stuff like that, but I didn't really enjoy any of it. So. I know, I like the idea of being able just to learn what you want when you want.
That's right, but the thing about that is that you can't make much money out of that, right? Learning about what you want when you want, right? You've got to learn about what you're told and when you're told to fucking learn it, okay?
Exactly,
Isn't it? Yeah.
I think a lot of it has to do too with, I gained a fair bit of life experience too from working with a lot of older people.
In butchering and that sort of thing?
Yeah.
No, definitely. Well, I mean...
in the last 2 years, I think I've had like 15 to 20 jobs. So
holy shit!
I've met a lot of people. So in the last 2 years, so I met a lot of people, and you hear a lot of stories from people. You learn about other things they tell you.
Instead of being locked into that paradigm of someone, instead of being locked into not saying it's better or worse for any reason, but locked into that paradigm of a person your age. Dealing with people who are in school from grade 11 to 12 and then going to schoolies and then going into university and only dealing with people that are of their age, if not like 1 or 2 years older, in the first 2 or 3 years of uni or in jobs like that. So or in jobs just out of school. So like in essence, you've been thrown in the deep end. Like sort of like sink or swim, because I remember that you used to tell me that you used to get a fair bit of shit from the people your first butchering job, like they used to give you a fair bit of shit, and it was sort of like, well, if I can't deal with this, then what am I going to do? And then you've learnt a way to be able to deal with someone giving you a fair bit of shit, Like,
well, we just have to figure out.
It's part of life, really, isn't it? Yeah, because there's a lot of fuckwits out there.
Yeah, it happens to everyone though. Like I think the times you learn the most amount of stuff about yourself. Is when you're at the bottom. You're really in the fucking shit. So when you're really hating like the main part of your life, like I remember I was unemployed for like a month or something, a year and a half ago or 2 years ago, a while ago now. And like I remember that's when I really started opening up to everything. Like I opened my mind and I was like, realizing like fuck, this world's like it's really not all it seems. Like you really think like everything's real good and flashy and like. I'm growing up, I'm getting money, and I'm like, I get to buy a car and like live out of home and do all this shit, and then you're like, you really get fucking shown how shit it is, and you're like, oh fuck. And then that's when I opened up and I was like, well fuck, look at this stuff that's happening overseas, and like, look how fucked up the world is, like, and like, look at GMOs, like, this isn't a good thing.
So what you're saying is that,
I started educating myself on GMOs.
Because this resonates strongly with me, because that's how I started my journey. I essentially was in a job that it was a reasonably high position, a manager of a very well-known nightclub in Melbourne, and the owners were just absolute disgusting people to work for, and they really used you for every hour of your life and treated you badly and told you were nothing and yada yada, and and that after I quit that job and I moved on, I sort of decided to I decided, there's got to be something else that I'm missing here, because how can this world run like this when you sort of, you're trying to play the game correctly? You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
That's how it worked for me, at least. And then that's how I started my journey on my self-discovery, on discovery of all the social systems that control the planet, all the economic systems, the environmental systems, everything that creates the human condition. And so that sort of sounds a fair bit the same as what you went through.
Yeah, pretty similar. Like I remember I was I didn't have a job, and I was just like, fuck, what do I do? Like, I just wanted to do stuff. Like, I was just like all this energy, and I wanted to just like learn. I was trying to find jobs I wasn't getting anywhere, and I was just at home all the time. And I was just like, rather than getting depressed, I just had all this energy I wanted to just use somehow.
Yeah, sure.
Then I was like, it's like this new part of my mind opened that I never really used, and I was just like, I was just open to this world, and something I sort of always was just like, oh, who cares? Like, it'll be fine. Like, when it came to like somebody telling me about the greens, or like something about like Sea Shepherd or animal rights or GMOs, or just like the economy, like stuff like, and I was just like, oh, who cares? Like,
who cares? Yeah, who cares? Because
it affect me.
There's nothing all like I'm powerless to change it, or there's nothing I can do, or something like that. So,
and I think that's a lot to do with ego. Like, ego is such a broad word everyone uses these days, but I think when your ego gets broken down, like in a time like that when I was really helpless, when I was like, fuck, I really don't, like, you don't have an ego, you've got nothing.
Yeah. So
you're open to like caring about more things.
Well, that's all you've
and
got.
realising. So when you're like, well, I don't, like, what else you, like, before that I had an ego, so I was just such a arsehole about everything.
Yeah.
I just didn't really care. And then like, I think it full broke down. I remember watching this video online of someone talking about like war and like the breakdown of all the wars and everything, and why it's happening, why they sent troops, and how they made their own war to go in Afghanistan and Iraq, and it was all about them making the money. And I was like, fuck, this is a joke. How can they let this happen?
Yeah, well,
and then and I remember I was just looking, and I was like,
isn't it?
I've got to educate myself on this. This is fucked up. Something's got to happen about this.
Isn't it when
there's 300 million people living in America, and no one knows about this, and like they're just doing this, and they're sending all these troops over there.
That's what I mean.
They're dying, and they're just for money because they want oil, and like.
And you mean like
so
essentially to go down that path for a second, because it's a good time. It's a disturbing time, but it's also a significant time of what we're dealing with in the current situation in today's date. Actually, but generally speaking, with all war and with all of the worst and the most nastiest condition of humanity that can come to be, it's usually you literally just follow the money. Like, where does the money come from? What economic gain does that country get out of this? What benefit is happening in that? And like, okay, let me use the example of what I was talking about before, and that example is that there is a $4 billion worth natural gas pipeline off the coast of Gaza at the moment. And $4 billion, you know this. So everything I was saying, probably just don't think camera, because Shane will know all this already, because we follow the same news source and that sort of thing. $4 billion, and Israel is in control of it. So what happens is that they need to, and like words that actually come from like some Israeli politicians, and I'm going to generalise it, I don't know exactly who said it, but it was some Israeli official of some kind. I'm trying to be politically correct in this podcast, but yeah, sometimes we just have to go into Gaza and just trim the grass, just blow some people up, just let them know who's boss, let them know who's got all the fucking bombs and who's got the weapons, and who get rid of all the guns. And once again, I don't want to sit here with such an extensive topic, and I believe I'm in some sort of position to be able to comment on it, seeing that only 8 months ago I was actually in Israel, and I was in Palestine, and not 7 months ago I was in Palestine in Bethlehem, and also all throughout Israel, up and down the whole countryside, and so this is a topic which resonates deeply with me, and And yeah, okay, so Hamas, they launch rockets over the border, but even the UN says that they have a right to defend themselves from.
Yeah, but I think it's a confusing one though, because even like Hamas, like they might even say, like they might even say, oh, we're gonna bomb you if you do this or something, and that Israel is like, oh, they said they're gonna bomb us, let's go.
Oh no! They use it
as an excuse to.
Yeah, I mean,
right now, like just.
But
today,
it's all propaganda. It's all propaganda.
A...
It's like if you break it down to the simple facts of the matter, is that the Gazans, the Palestinians who live in Gaza, the Gazans, I think I just made that up. The Palestinians who live in Gaza, they have no air force, no army, and no navy. Okay?
No resources.
They have no even resources. They don't have a working hospital. They don't have a. I think Hamas, the terrorist organisation, who's basically I'm not even going to get into that. But I think Hamas, the terrorist organisation, so-called terrorist organisation, I think they get their weapons from North Korea or something, and they have to smuggle them through tunnels and shit. And they apparently even today or yesterday, I forgot which day it was, over the 140 rockets they fired, only fucking 20 of them actually got over the border of Gaza. They're ineffective weapons and nothing. Israel has the most extensive air force in the whole world. They've got a supreme nuclear arsenal. They've got 30 plus warheads that could fucking bring the end to the world at any moment. They've got fucking, a conscription. They got 5 million, no, probably not 5 million, but 3 million people in their army. I should probably look that up just so I don't get it wrong. They're they're just calling up reserves regularly, 50,000 people at a time, just reserves. You know what I mean? Every single person that lives in Israel is in the army. They've got fucking, so we're not talking about any sort of fair conflict here, whatever. We're not talking about a war. We're talking about them destroying and levelling a civilization who is strapped for resources, who the whole international community condemns Israel for the sanctions which they impose on them, the fact that they don't have any clean water, the fact that they don't have... I tried to get into Gaza, actually, when I was there, and you're not allowed to. They won't let you. Yeah, they won't let you go in. It's not a tourist destination, and they won't let tourists in there. Yeah. But I went to Hebron. I went to Israeli settlements. I went to, and unfortunately, what it comes down to, I always like to break things down to the most basic, fundamental level. Okay, to make it obvious to people, because there's all this talk about Hamas is firing all these rockets that are fucking, I don't think there's been one Israeli civilian that's been killed. There's been 30 soldiers because they did a ground offensive in Gaza, and there's Hamas people with guns there shooting them and shit like that. But there's been there's been 1,400 and something. Yeah, 1,400 civilians and over 300 children.
It'll be higher now because what I just seen today, there was an Israeli soldier went missing apparently, and when they interviewed, when they heard from the troop that he was in, apparently they said it was friendly fire, but Israeli government used this as a tactic so they could bomb Gaza again, and they killed over 200 people. They killed over 200 people in that bomb. They say now all of Gaza's gone to their retreat camps, and this is just in today, and it's.
They say that the Gazans have somewhere to flee when they drop warning bombs on them, and it's also shit. It's all just Gaza is in the top most densely populated areas in the world. It's got 1.2 million people or something like that in the space of I think maybe 2/5 of Victoria or something like that. I don't fucking know. It's a very small area.
It's very, very small country as it is. It's pretty small. So.
Well, and look, to be honest, it's actually quite. It's quite crazy how hard they're going at it. I didn't see it coming. We all knew they were ruthless motherfuckers, Israel and what they're trying to do there, and how they're taking over and they're occupying lands against all international law, against the international community's will, against everything. And okay, they're doing that. That's fine, but the bloodshed which they've caused from this last conflict, it's really fucking sadistic. Like, it's to the point, every day it's just like 100, another 100 dead, another 100 dead, another 100 dead. And like, like these poor people have nothing. I'm saying this as well because I've gone and I've spent time, I've broken bread, I've eaten food with Palestinian people, and I've heard their stories, and I've really connected with them in a way, and I've also connected with Jewish people, and I'm going to tell you from a first-hand perspective, who didn't really go over there with any ulterior motive. I don't have any alliance. I mean, one of my last girlfriends, who I loved very dearly, was Jewish, and you know, and I have nothing against Jewish people in general, but I'm just saying what the 1% or the 10% or how many of the people in power in Israel at the moment is doing to Gaza is fucking horrific. Like,
also, Israelis are born in their country, they're born into it to taught that their religion is the only religion that should be taught.
Well, that's right. So, yeah, they are.
So that there shouldn't be anyone else following any other religion. Yeah. So that's why it even makes it harder for, and it's been going on for 60 years, this conflict now. So 1964, I would say.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
So, and of those borders, and Gaza, the Hamas is still going off that 1964 order, but like there's not much. It's hard to think about what you could do to resolve it now. Even like back in 2011, when there was 1,500 killed over the same thing in Gaza. Yeah. So I think it's just going to be one of those things ongoing now.
Well, it is, and I think it comes down to I heard a sentimental statement about it that if there's no peace in Gaza, then there's no peace anywhere. Because it is this ongoing thing where these people they basically live in a concentration camp. They're not allowed to leave. There's no exports that are allowed to be exported, like for monetary value. There's no imports that are about to allowed.
40% unemployment.
40% unemployment. Yeah, and they just literally locked into this. They can't leave. They can't go anywhere, and it's sort of it's just a brutal, fucking really brutal situation. It's an ugly situation, and
there is lucky ones that do get through the border to Egypt, but it's not often though.
No, not often. Yeah. But yeah, I think it's good that we even touched on that scenario, because that's quite a significant talking point recently, and that's just dominating international news as we speak. So what's the date today?
Definitely, the 3rd
of August. Yeah. It's been happening for a few weeks now. It's just a disgusting situation, and really what it comes down to is it just comes down to the people with the bigger bombs just have the power. Literally, that's what it comes down to. That's what a lot of international situations come down to. People with the bigger weapons and the bigger bombs are usually and attacking smaller nations. Usually no one else is willing to do too much about it.
What happened to America when they went into Iraq and Afghanistan, and it's just
that's right. I mean, that's why you've got that's why everyone is sort of like, oh no, Iran shouldn't get a nuclear weapon. No, the end of the world if Iran gets a nuclear weapon. Well, look, me coming from having some empathy for people in Iran. Like, if I saw what happened in Afghanistan and Iraq from America, like when in the Iraq war was like 1.4 million civilian deaths. Yeah. 1.4 million civilian deaths. Okay, and then all the horrific shit that went on around that. All the raping and whatever the fuck happened when a country goes and occupies another country. Okay, that's fucked up enough. But if I was Iran, I'd be like, well, let's do the figures here. What did Afghanistan and Iraq and Libya? What did all these countries not have? Oh, they didn't have a nuclear weapon. Okay, well, let's get a nuclear weapon, because that means that America might back the fuck off.
Yeah, but then you look at Syria when they had their chemical weapons and that whole thing. But I think that.
But that wasn't even Syria. I think the facts came in that wasn't the Syrian government. That was the rebels who were funded and by the United States.
It was, yeah, but still, even that whole situation as a whole, the Syria one, where everyone woke up and noticed what was going on through the alternative media, and everyone said, don't send US troops into Syria, and they actually didn't. Everyone was like, all right, everyone says don't do it, so maybe.
Well, I don't know if but I think they
if they used chemical weapons, we're going to send troops in. They did, so, and he still didn't after that. I think that was a public opinion that got that to happen, but I don't know.
No, it was. I was saying that's the first war in history that got stopped by social media. Yeah. Well, they were aiming to go in for. No, but you've seen that clip on YouTube. What was it? How that general of the American army that defected or something, or I don't know. He was saying that he got a notification on his desk that within 10 years, and this was like 10 years ago or something, that they were going to set up a central bank and take over Libya, Afghanistan, Iraq, Syria and Iran. I think they were the 5, and then now they've just got basically Syria and Iran left. But Assad obviously is too technically capable with his army to be taken over by a bunch of rebels. Yeah. So, and then that's why the American army were like, well, we've got to go in and we've got to try, because the rebels aren't getting the job done. What can we use? Well, we'll use chemical weapons. And then, I mean, I've heard from some smart people, you can't commit violations with chemical weapons. I was like, well, I did some research into sarin nerve gas, and what it does is constricts your muscles, so that when you breathe in, then your muscles won't be able to breathe out. So basically, you die of suffocation. Yeah. Okay, I don't want to fucking die of suffocation or getting bombed or whatever the fuck, but I'll probably die of suffocation before I got my arm or leg blew off and bled out.
Yeah, definitely.
If I'm going to toss up, which way I want to go, I would probably like to get suffocated to death than getting bombed by fireballs from the sky and burned to death. Or some building half falling on me and my legs getting crushed, and then I just have to lie there until I fucking die. What's chemical weapons? No chemical weapons. The fuck, and then it turned out that it wasn't even fucking Assad. It was the rebels, and the rebels could have been funded by America. You just got to follow the money. You got to follow where the strategic interest of the conflict is going to end up, and imperialism is the big winner in the day, isn't it? Yeah. Imperialism, an imperial nation and one world government.
But even though you follow the money, but still there's a lot of money that's being wasted. Like US government, there's a Vice documentary where they went into Afghanistan and they showed a whole power factory, because Afghanistan is one of the countries in the world that has the least amount of power. I think only 10% of the country has power or something.
Oh wow!
And and US government spent I think it was $6 billion putting this power plant in Afghanistan, and there's not even been turned on or used yet.
Oh really?
So they've got all of this stuff there and they haven't even used it.
Why
not? They just can't afford to use it. Apparently, the people who made it, they don't have any money now to use it to run it or something. So it's a confusing situation. I don't know why it's not being.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? Isn't it? You go and isn't that where the conspiracy? Well, it's not a conspiracy. I think it's literally fact. Isn't that where the sort of facts lie? The army goes into places and then levels a place, and then they give all the contracts to the American corporations Lockheed Martin, Halliburton, and all those other corporations, massive American corporations who get paid by the American taxpayer to go and basically reconstruct the infrastructure, which has just been bombed by the American taxpayers.
Well, they also have a lot of contractors from there. Yeah. And in one of these other ones in that made around that area, the contractors, what they would do is they would break something, and then they just send a massive invoice to the US, and they just charge them for it because they're just contractors, so they just send invoices. And then they just break something, and then they have to buy another one. So they have this junkyard in Afghanistan where it's just all this random broken stuff from the US military and government. and it's just I don't know what they was doing. It's just a waste of money. I'm not sure why they were using it and reselling it as well. Some of them, but like it's crazy. They had a lot of weapons there as well, and but yeah.
Perfect. Well, that's good business sense. That's what if the money's there to be made, who gives a fuck?
And I'm taking a lot over into Pakistan as well. And the rebels there, and because they have a lot of terrorist groups there too. They were using it. Of course. Oh look, okay, we've gotten onto this war discussion. Fuck you can do 20 podcasts on this. Anyway, in terms of where were we? So we were talking about. So cool. So you got into basically just trying to find out truth in the world. Yeah, so I was just interested in learning about heaps of stuff, and I got really into just like the economy, like capitalism, and I was like, well, is this right, like capitalism?
I think it's very important,
So I like looked into a lot of different views, like I've seen Ron Paul's view, like this isn't even capitalism, this is corporatism, and
of course it is. Yeah.
And then it's like Peter Joseph's view, like, and shouldn't be even using this, like everyone should be living in small communities and blah blah blah. And like I sort of like seeing the views. I don't really take on much of an opinion on this myself because I think it's hard to really say how the world should be run. Like,
that's where I think it's important that maybe you should, because in my you know me and where I come from, and I am a very system orientated person, as in like systems control the biomechanical human machine, which is influenced through information which it perceives, which it then replicates a certain program which has been programmed by people who want to make money out of them. Okay, I'm going to rephrase all that and just back it back. Okay, so basically the system creates the culture and the culture creates a human being. So if you've got an economic system which can make more wealth from polluting the environment than saving the environment, then the culture will be of polluting the environment.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
which is what it is right now. Yeah. So that's why I find the economic system the mecca of human greatness and also human disgustingness. It's the central control of everything that we do on this planet, and why we decide where we want to go and what we want to do, whether that's conscious, subconscious, whatever the fuck it is. But instead of putting money into saving endangered species, like as in setting up enclosures and zoos and all this, no, there's more money in hunting them. There's more money in hunting them because that is something that someone with a certain amount of cash thinks is good for them.
Yeah, I think a lot of things come back to, even like it goes back a long time to the industrial revolution when it all created to where it is now. But like I think a lot of it happens to be from like this disconnection from everything. Like I was saying before, that person with the milk, like they'd be like, oh no, I'm not from straight from the animal. Or if you said someone who eats meat every day, go out and kill this animal and eat it, and then they'd be like, well, why would I do that? It's like, because that's how you're gonna eat today. You're not gonna eat meat otherwise. But like that's like with fuel too for cars. There's that disconnection. Like you go fill up your car, and you just like all the gas that comes out of that car is like just destroying the government. Same with the way that it was actually pulled from the earth. Like it's all just it's not doing anything good. But
what do you mean from the pollution it creates and that sort of thing?
Yeah, the pollution all in general, like it's just a disconnection. Like people don't even care. Like, they don't even realise what they're doing, what they're doing to the world, or So or what they're eating. They don't realise where it's come from, what it's been through. And now I'm getting really into sort of the spirit of things. I'm like the last year or so. I've really touched on to sort of the spiritual side of my life, which I never really cared about when I was younger or even before like that. And I think like a lot of things come from like you could pick up a bad spirit from eating a kind of animal or something that's been tortured, and like that could move on to like I know, it's hard to explain. Like, that's like why people could be so angry and like just disconnected from who they are these days. Like,
or that's
so
why they could get cancer
it could
and
be,
die because you ate too many fucking tortured animals.
Yeah, but yeah, I know you could get pretty in depth into that though.
Yeah. I can see where you're coming from in that concept for sure. Yeah, well, I'm glad that you're seeing it that way because when I spoke to you a couple of years ago, you were like, "Fuck pigs."
I still eat meat every day.
No, I know you do. Yeah, but no, like I think, for interest's sake with the animal concept, you know, I have got to think that, you know, each animal has some sort of consciousness that is worthy of note, and I'm not saying I'm definitely not at any stage of saying that people shouldn't eat meat or all the rest of it. I think that it should be a personal choice, but I also think that there should be some sort of like you're talking about, some sort of connection between the person eating the meat and the meat. I think if you want to eat meat, I think you should have to fucking kill it. Like, and I don't think. And I don't, because I would like to see how many, you know, pussy CBD motherfuckers
you have to take
out
care
there.
of it from, but not just kill it.
Yeah,
you have to take care of the animal from the day it's born.
From the day it's born, feed it, yeah, and then give thanks to it and kill it later. And if that's what you want to do, I can't look at you as a bad person for doing that. But what I can, if I can look at someone as an unethical and a bad person from saying, that meat in the supermarket wrapped up in that plastic is something that I need to eat, you know, because it's convenient for me to eat.
Yeah.
And I don't think that that's right because the convenience thing is not an excuse to eat meat.
Like, but this system runs on innovation and making things easier for everyone. So I think that
look where
this isn't going to make. I don't think that this is going to get any. It's going to change for.
No, I don't think it is either.
But in a way, I believe in a lot of what goes around comes around. So it's going to happen one day. Something's going to happen. Like, I don't know if you've seen last week, a whale ate like 20 Japanese whalers.
No, I didn't.
Last week a whale ate actually.
No, I think it was actually a joke.
Was it? Oh.
I wish it was. I wish it did. Because I fucking.
Okay.
I don't know. Look, that's the beauty of the internet.
I was pretty happy then when I seen that article, but I didn't read the whole
I loved it. I thought it was like the epitome of karma, but
yeah.
I actually put it on the Connect page and I did a tiny bit of research on it, and someone posted, I think it's a joke, and I looked it up and I think it is a joke.
Oh, okay, that's right.
But it would have been funny.
It would have been funny, yeah. But in a way, I think.
But that's what someone said about the Japanese tsunami. They're like, they're like, sincerely, they're like, dear Japan, like when a tsunami hit, dear Japan, suck shit, sincerely Wales. That's rude, but like, yeah.
I do think though, what goes around does come around, and if we do keep polluting the world like we do, it's kind of then everyone is going to die. So it's going to come back. So
if we keep what?
Just polluting the world like we do, and what we do, it's going to come around someday. So
I think we're in definitely a position that needs the common everyday suburban man and a suburban woman to really sort of stand up and say what they think is right. And like, I think it does come down to that because, like I was talking about before, as much as I might not have explained it perfectly before, but like the almighty dollar does rule, and if it's cheaper to exploit animals, if it's cheaper to pollute a lake, if it's cheaper to do all that, then it's going to happen. And where the almighty dollar really fucking gets its devil instincts from is the fact that there's someone sitting there in their living room, or someone sitting there at some point, like every time there's a bomb dropped on fucking Gaza, or every time there's a bomb dropped on another country, they're like cha-ching, 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 and then they're like, come on guys, let's get this new version of this Mach 3 750 fucking bunker buster. You'll fucking be able to kill 100 people at once. Look, I know you got all that other model out there just sitting there waiting, Now what you want to do is you want to use all them. How are we going to use all those bombs really fast? Because I got a good deal on these other bombs. I got a really good deal. So we're going to use all them. We need a war. Okay, let's get a war, all right? Where are we going to... And I don't think, people might think I'm exaggerating there, but that, without the fucking comical sarcasm, that actually might be the way it goes. Okay, you've got a stockpile of weapons that need to be used so that there are communities out there which have livelihoods and have families connected to making weapons. They've got members of families, mothers, daughters, brothers, fathers, sons, that actually are connected to making weapons of destruction and war that need to be continually consumed so that they have a job and continue their way of life. So, you know, that's where the war strategy comes in. And like the military-industrial complex, apart from the oil industry is still winning, but the military-industrial complex is right behind them, massive industry that needs constant consumption in the economic system to survive. So whether there is a conflict or not, we could last 5 years, 10 years, whatever, but eventually there's going to be a stockpile of weapons that needs to be fucking killed and it needs to be used on some innocent civilian somewhere.
Yeah.
And that's the way the world works, in a nutshell. In a nutshell.
They have also they're training up all of these military, and they have them all sitting there. And they're not going to use them.
Well, they're going to. No, you got to use them. You got to use them for something. That's like you see all those pictures on Facebook from the end of the Iraq War, and now all the southern states and all these tiny little townships and that have these, you know, decked out Humvees with fucking guns on the top, and all these like southern like Kansas states and Latin America, and these cops are driving around these massive Humvees with fucking machine guns on the top and that sort of shit because they just all came from the Iraq War. It's like, oh, well, we're gonna fucking put them there. We got to use them somewhere. Like we've already spent all this money on them. We might as well fucking say there's all these fucking massive weapons of war just on like these, you know, streets of Oklahoma and shit like that. Like, I don't know. I'm just
crazy.
but yeah, no, that is a scary thing. That's something that does scare me. You know, I think the only thing that's holding us back is, you know, holding us back from craziness is the fact that probably the fact we've got nuclear weapons. And it's a funny issue. It's funny saying that. It's sort of like saying if everyone wants to be safe, everyone should have guns. Yeah, you know what I mean? And that's a fucked up thing. A lot of people that's a fucked up thing to think about because you don't want to. And coming from Australia, where there is not a lot of guns, I don't want that. I don't want that at all.
Yeah, definitely.
But if you knew that every single house had a fucking gun, then you'd be like, I'm not going in there. Fuck that. If I really wanted to go in there, I'm going to go in there because I've got to risk my fucking life to go in there. Like, you know, in Australia, you can do some breaking enters and shit, and it doesn't matter because no one's got a gun. Yeah. You know, you're not going to go into someone's house that's got a gun, you know what I mean? So, like, in a way, you're like, well, I don't agree with nuclear weapons. Obviously, I don't. I think they should be abolished. I think that all weapons should be abolished. I think the form, you know, what's the term? War is man's ultimate failure as a talking animal, you know? Yeah. And you know, I think all weapons should be abolished, but I think, like, nuclear weapons are probably the only thing keeping us back from total worldwide destruction. Because I think deep down, I don't think deep down these devil incarnate motherfuckers that are in control. Like, you know, generally speaking, 99% of people, they don't want to bomb anyone up. They don't want to blow anyone up. They don't want to bomb people. They don't want anyone dead. They don't want to kill someone's son or daughter or mother or father. Yeah. They don't want to do that. I don't give a fuck what you're doing. You know, go and live your life. Just fucking don't harm anyone else. But I don't want to do that. But there's 1% of people who have a lot of power. And they're psychos.
Yeah, and they do what they want.
Fucking psychos.
Well, that's like, I know I've listened to Alex Jones a bit, and he's pro-guns, like, he's very pro-guns.
Yeah, he is.
But, like, it's, as he says, like, if you have, like, all these, like, everyone has the guns, but, like, they don't go out and shooting everyone every day. Like, that's why, like, that's why even, if you think about it, America, they have 300 million people plus, and they've still got pretty low crime rates considering how many people they got in the country.
Indeed.
But, like, that's how, if you think about it, like, in another way too, like, Denver in Colorado, were saying recently they're looking at legalizing heroin, and
really?
Yeah, and I seen a really good statement someone said, and they're like, because there was a massive group going against it, like this massive group this is on like Fox News, And then this person come on, they said, well, if it was legal, would you do it?
Yeah.
And I was like, that's a pretty good statement. Like,
yeah, if it was legal, would you do it?
If it was legal, would you do it?
If
you could go down the store and go buy a heroin now and you come back and shoot up, would you do it? And they're like, well, no. And they're like, well, why shouldn't you make it legal?
Yeah, I know.
You're sending these people who do use it to jail, and it's not really helping them at all. So I can see that. I think that it would be possibly pretty much a good thing. Like, probably not making it illegal to just go buy it, but decriminalising. So if someone does have it and use it, they can help that person, and rather than just sending them to jail. So I think decriminalising all drugs would be a step forward for all the world.
If you are
because people, if they're going to use it, they're going to use it.
Yeah.
Like, if you look in Vancouver, like they have one of the most amount of, like, a lot of people shoot up there. So they started making these little places where they can go and shoot up safely rather than just on the street using dirty needles and stuff. And look, they've had not one death since in any of these places.
I think long gone are the days where, long gone are the days of war on drugs where you are sweeping stuff under the carpet. Like, I think long gone are the days. I think we have to get to a consciousness level where we're like, well, this sort of isn't working, locking people up for fucking having some weed on them or something like that, you know what I mean? Like, innately, I think human beings like to get fucked up. So, they like to have mind-altering substances which give them a new perspective on their consciousness in this reality that we've created for ourselves, whether that be some release from their mundane everyday life, or whether that be some form of amusement from their in some sort of extracurricular activity. Okay, I mean, I don't think there's a problem with that, because, like, we're not in the 1960s anymore where, like, one hit could get you fucking hooked for life. And, like,
we know the science.
We know the science. It's all bullshit. Like, marijuana doesn't really it used in moderation. Let's not, like, because you go, marijuana doesn't do this and does that. Oh, it does. I fucking know someone who got psychosis. Used in moderation. Marijuana doesn't do. Used in moderation. Ecstasy doesn't. Used in moderation. Heroin doesn't. Used in moderation. Fucking anything, single thing. Used in moderation. So what we're really going for in these situations, if we are going to tackle a problem head on, if we're not going to brush it under the carpet and go, these people are lost causes and they shouldn't be fucking, like, they shouldn't be members of society. If you are going to deal with the problem head on, as an educated and a well-informed society, what you're going to say is you're going to say that it's more beneficial for people to be educated on addiction and addictive substances and how to use addictive substances, or how to use addictive substances in a sustainable manner or in a sensible manner. And let's not get confused with addictive substances only being drugs, because that's a laugh. Addictive substances also relate to food, fast food, high fructose sugar.
Like
money is the most addictive substance known to man. I don't think it's a substance. You couldn't call it a substance. The most addictive object known to man, money. People will do anything to get money. Anything. They'll fuck the environment. They'll blow people up. They'll do whatever they need to do. Okay, in a roundabout way, it's still just for money. Okay, so like, I mean, but I think, but that doesn't work with capitalism. Because capitalism, the current form of capitalism that we're in, well, social capitalism, but the form of capitalism is basically, there's no such thing as too much. And that's what allows our system to run. That's what, we're supposed to idolise these people.
Endless progression.
Endless progression, yeah. And we're meant to idolise these people who have just, extreme wealth, and they just, like, live like kings, and you're like, well, I don't know if that's healthy. I don't know if that's the best way to go about this life, dude. Is that what I want? Do I want slaves? And do I not slaves? They're not slaves anymore. But the amount of money that these people have may as well be slaves. Well, I have to pay them $15 an hour. Yeah, they're fucking basically be slaves.
Pretty much. Like.
Yeah, but yeah, no. Look. Anyway, how do we get on that conversation?
I was talking about weapons and
so I think I think anyway actually where I was going with that is that the fact that I think that that basically weapons are nuclear weapons are like pretty much the thing that's holding us back, because I think that I don't think there's really I would like to think I don't think there's really any leaders out there in the world that want to use nuclear weapons, because they know that would be the end. That no one wins in that situation.
Yeah, of course.
There would be there's too much divide and there's too much destruction, and so I think we're in a situation where we're sort of like teetering on the edge of like, do we want peace or do we want to go into a third world war? Are we going to figure out a solution? And it's going to be an interesting scenario.
Yeah, well, it's interesting times right now, so we never know what's going to happen or when. So
you don't. And so, what are your plans for the future, mate? Where are you going? What are you doing with your life?
Oh, I have no idea really. So I know I plan to move overseas probably next year. Over to around Canada.
Yeah.
And go check out America again.
Yeah.
See what's happening over there. And I just want to meet more people and see other perspectives on the world and gain new perspectives myself on the way reality and on the reality in the world. And just learn more stuff, and hopefully teach other people about the world and what I know. So, yeah,
that's good.
It's all about how you see it. So you can see people see it as some things. They see capitalism as good. They see other things as good, but they don't see both sides. So you got to always see there's good and bad to everything. It's yin and the yang. So, like I said, you might say, "Oh, money's good," but then killing the environment's bad. There's good and bad to everything. So, Like you can't be as you say. Like there's also you can't appreciate something good. That's something.
No,
bad.
Definitely not.
You can't appreciate life right now, like knowing that I'm going to die one day. So I can't sit here going, "Oh, I'm happy to be alive right now because I'm going to die eventually."
Yeah.
Whether it's tomorrow or 80 years time. Yeah. Or like you can't appreciate anything. So you have a shit day, you can't appreciate having a good day.
That's right.
But it's just I think about that a lot, all that kind of stuff a lot, and even if you are feeling shit, just you can make yourself feel better in 2 minutes just by appreciating.
You can.
What you actually have. And I think the less you have, less is more. As I grow up more, I think less is more. I have all this I used to have all this shit just in my room. I never even used it, or I used to buy all this random stuff, and I don't even need it. I think if I have less stuff, I actually appreciate having that less amount of stuff more.
Yeah. And
appreciate what I have more. And I noticed that a lot while I was in Indonesia. It's a fairly poor country. There's a lot of very poor people, and everyone's so happy. The happiest people, and they've got nothing.
That's
people are coming to work. They might make $3 that day.
Yeah.
They might make no money. Some people might make just standing on the street.
Yeah.
You're talking to people for 16 hours that day. It might make no money even, or $10, and they're still the happiest people. You can talk to them, and they're so happy with it. They've got a wife and a kid, and they're and we're getting a dog, or we've got a cat, and we're so happy, we love her, and we sit down and we watch the beach, or we go fishing, and they appreciate that so much. Where if the more you have, the less you actually appreciate what you have. There was a psychology study done I was recently reading where they say if you buy something within 2 hours to 2 days, you don't even get that good feeling of having bought that thing. It's you know how you buy something, you get that good feeling. Oh, I've got this new thing, but with these days, the average time within it is 2 hours to 2 days before you don't even care that you've got it. Yeah. It's you might buy a new phone, you're I've got to be careful with this phone, I just got it, I just paid $500 for this, and a week later you're just throwing it. That's where you don't actually appreciate what you have. So that's why I think if all you had was that phone, then you would constantly you would just care for it. So it's with everything, everything that you have. So like some people over in Bali that might only have like 2 sets of clothes. They wash that pair of clothes every single day and take care of it because that's all they have to wear.
That's right.
And that's how they represent who they are and what they are. So yeah, I think like that's, I know it's a big thing I sort of learnt from that trip, and I knew a lot of it anyway.
Yeah, sure.
It really showed me really appreciate what you get and like
absolutely.
What you have. So like I tried to be as giving as I could while I was over there, like give people as much money as I could because I know that they don't have any money. Like even like giving someone $5, like seeing their face, they're like, what? Like we get a taxi. To get a taxi over there, you get a taxi for 10 minutes, it costs $1. And like you're in a taxi for ages. This guy's just driven around the streets and it's crazy, and like people cutting him off, and it's like this poor guy and he's making like $1. So it's like giving him $5, and like just seeing him, he's like, and we're just like, oh no, keep the change, and he's like, what?
Definitely.
$4,
like you can do it.
Probably like eat like 5 meals for that, but like if I gave him $100, like he'd probably freak out. But I can't afford that myself. Like
that's right.
To eat and live myself, but like if I could, I give him as much money as I could because. I know, being more giving, I think it does grow you more mentally too. Like,
definitely. Yeah, you're right there. Yeah, for sure.
And just even being giving, it shows you a lot about yourself, even, and shows other people who you are. Something I want to do more though.
You can make it. Yeah, you can take so much from giving.
Definitely,
for sure. Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I mean, you know, giving is seems to be some form of like luxury that we have in this world at the moment. It's sort of like when it shouldn't really be, you know, like I mean, you like to give it. I mean it's a tough one, isn't it? Like you have to really sort of you know, this day and age decide who you want to give your energy or time to. Or
you do, but I think you should just try and give it to the people who need it the most.
Yeah.
Like I mean, even just in the world right now, there's like 40% of the people are making less than $1.30 a day.
Yeah. That's
40.
right.
That's a lot of people.
Yeah,
so
without a doubt.
You could what we have now, like try and give as much as we can to them, but like you can't, like it's getting other people are making money off that now, so it's very hard to do that. But like that's just how the system is, I guess. But like
that's right, and that's
traveling and learning that and expanding your mind and trying to give to the people who you can see do need it. Is. I think it's a good thing.
It's also sort of about spreading information. It's also about spreading the reality of the world and making sure people are listening to it and making sure other people are aware of it, and then hopefully one day we can figure out maybe a better way to organise whatever's going on. You know what I mean? Where there's that 3.4 billion people who don't have to live on $1.30 a day, and who can look after their environment better because they've got their food and water needs and shelter needs met, and that sort of thing. And so I mean, it's relevant in the sense that I think it's it's just important to understand where those problems originate from, and why we've gotten into the position of what we get into. That's why me just going back into my system-based theory.
Into the system,
the machine, the livestock management system, which human beings wake up at 7 o'clock to get to their job at 8:30 in the morning every day, perpetuates. So look, I think it's it's probably a whole other podcast, even though we've touched a bit on that. But that's essentially what we're just talking about is the reason why I got you in, and it's the reason why we're having this chat now, because we like to try and spread information. It's only the start, it's only the first one. I haven't done one of these in a long time, but I think, it's been a good start, and it's been really good to have you on and have a chat, and I'm sure we'll catch up again soon in the future. I'm going to keep trying to do one of these a week and try and get the ball rolling on these again. We used to get like one or so 100 watches and listens every few, but it always is. But now we're doing video. It's going to be good to spread some information out there. We'd love to hear your comments, love to hear your feedback. So get back to us. Sean and Shane signing out from the Connect. Thank you very much. Catch you guys. Sweet.
Did you press record?